This is the inside of the Swift Sundance 620FB. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn the 12 volt on the power button just here. We can then turn the cabin lights on and off just here on the main isolator. These can then all be individually turned on and off on their own switches. We can view levels just here, so we can see the condition of the the vehicle battery, the leisure battery, how much water is in the fresh tank and how much water is in the waste tank. Water pump on and off just here. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps. Flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's being drained down. Frost protection just here. So both the fresh and wastewater tanks have small elements inserted into them. So if you are using the motorhome in extremely cold climate, you can pop this on. The elements will slightly warm up and then you will avoid any frost damage occurring to your tanks. You can see here that this is just indicating that we're currently connected to mains electricity and that we're using the leisure battery. We have awning light on and off just here, and then we have battery selection just here. So if I now switch over, you'll now see that we're now using the vehicle battery to run the back end of the motorhome. But because we are connected to main supply, this is now the battery we are also charging. The consumer unit is just located in the overhead locker just here. So we have the main trip switches just here. So we've got the individual MCBs, main RCD and test button just here, labelled up as you can see along the bottom, and then correspond on this part of the sticker just here. So if anything's not working on main supply, just check to see if you've tripped at this point. At the bottom here, we then have the 12 volt fuses, and again they are numbered up and correspond on this part of the sticker. So if anything's not working on 12 volt, just check to see if you have blown a fuse. Full system shutdown just here, so if you're not using the motorhome for long periods of time, you can press this black button just here and it will then shut the back end of the motorhome down and kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. These buttons here are mainly for workshop, but if I press the select button, I can see the condition of the leisure battery and the condition of the vehicle battery and how many amps we are using. This light here will illuminate if you have reverse polarity connected to the motorhome. This can sometimes be found on some continental sites. This button here can turn the battery charger on and off. We want the battery charger on so we can basically charge the leisure battery and the vehicle battery when we're connected to main supply. We then have the isolator switch for the electric element in the space heater. If this has been turned off, the control for it will no longer work. So quite frankly, you can just leave it pressed in. It is more for maintenance than anything else. Beneath that, we have water heater on main supply. So as long as you've got water in your boiler, if you want to heat up hot water via the main supply, just press here and it will then begin to heat the water up. The water will get roughly to a temperature of about 60 degrees. If you do not have main supply connected to the motorhome, you can heat your hot water on gas, and that is just done at this point just here. So you'll see that this has an inner dial and an outer, and at the moment it's in the off position. If I now flick it down, you will usually hear a click and then the boiler will attempt to ignite itself. Do make sure that you have the flue cover taken off on the outside, or otherwise it will fail. If it fails to light, a red light will appear in the window. Because you're heating on gas, you can control the temperature of the water anywhere from a very low 30 degrees right the way up to a very hot 70. If I now come to the bench seat just here and remove the cushions, and then I now just lift up, you'll see we have some storage underneath here. We also have the battery charger just here, and then beside that is the water pump itself, and then we have the surge dampener for it just there. This helps calm down any pump shudder that may occur. Then the Truma boiler just sits here. To drain the boiler down for winterization, it's all just done on the yellow lever just here. Before draining the boiler, make sure that the water pump has been turned off, and that you have made sure that the water heater itself is turned off, so you don't run the risk of burning out the element. And then next, all you need to do is just flap the lever up like so, and it will then begin to drain the boiler down underneath the van directly at that point. If you are fully winterizing the van, I always then suggest that you also go around and open up all your taps somewhere in between hot and cold. This will help release any airlocks in the pipework and help it drain down way more efficiently. When it comes to refilling the boiler, make sure that the yellow lever is back in the closed position. Reclose all of your taps, fill up the fresh water tank, turn on the power and then the water pump, and then the water pump will then begin to refill the boiler. Let the pump run for a few minutes and then begin opening up the taps. They will cough and splutter as they force the air out of the system. Once they're running freely on both hot and cold, reclose, and then the system will fully reprime itself. If I now move across to the other bench seat and again remove the cushions, and again I now just lift up, you'll see that we have more storage, and then we also have the leisure battery just here. Tucked in the corner is the main 40 amp fuse that just comes off the leisure battery. We then have the automatic Thetford fridge freezer just here. To turn the fridge on, just press the button here, and as long as auto is selected, it will find the best power source available. So because we're connected to main supply at the moment, you'll see that we are connected just here. If I was now to run outside and pull the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas, and as soon as the engine is started, it will then automatically go over to 12 volt maintain to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. You can take it out of auto if you want to, just by pressing the button here. So I can manually put it onto 12 volt maintain. The light here is going to flash and we're going to get an error code because the engine's currently not running. I can manually put it onto gas, and I can manually put it onto main supply. but auto is the easiest option to have it on. Temperature control just here. Venting arm just here, so when you're not using the fridge you can just keep the door held on a jar. We then have the space heater just here. If you are going to use the space heater on main supply, just come around to the control just here, and again very similar to the control for the boiler on gas, we have the inner dial and the outer dial. So the outer dial picks the power, so if I switch it all the way to the bottom, we're now using main supply at 1 kilowatt, main supply at 500 watts, back to off, and then main supply using 2 kilowatts. So this is all just dependent on the ampage of the site you're on to try and avoid tripping. Control the temperature just here. If you do not have main supply, you can run the heater on gas, and it's just a matter of turning the dial just here. You should then be able to hear the igniter ticking away. Then just push down, and then it's a good indication that the fire has lit. Once the ticking stops, just let go. You can usually then hear a whoosh. To doubly make sure, you can then peer for the pilot light just in the window just here, but it's not always the easiest thing to see. Regardless, if you are running the space heater on gas or electric, this part here just controls the circulation fan, which will then blow air out of all the air ducts located around the motorhome. To turn the circulation fan on, just flick it across, and then you can control the fan speed just on the dial just here. A will not work in this particular model of motorhome. You do need to have an additional thermostat added. If for any reason you go to light the fire on gas and the igniter is not working, this may just be to the fact that the battery has gone dead, and the battery is located just at the base of the fire. Just slide it up, and just located here is an AA battery. We then have the hob. So we've got the electric hot plate that will work when the motorhome is connected to main supply, and it operates just here. We then have the 3 gas rings, and that is just a matter of pushing in, twisting and pushing the igniter. Directly beneath that is the grill, and same again, push, twist and push the igniter. And then the oven. Beneath the oven there is some storage, and then you'll find a plug plugged in, which is just for the electric hot plate, and then there are some gas isolation taps just underneath here. They are colour coded, and then match on the sticker just here. They're all in the on position, and quite frankly they can stay like that. I always say they are more for maintenance than anything else. If you do smell gas in the motorhome, go to the source and turn off the gas bottle. We then have the microwave just here, which again, like the hot plate, will work when the motorhome is connected to main supply. It's always advisable to remove the contents for travel. We then have quick start and stop just here. We then have power settings, etc., defrost, all the usual stuff you would find on most microwaves. The fixed rear bed pops up and you can see the freestanding table just there, and then there is a lot of storage beneath it. Television just located in here. It slides out like so. There is not a TV aerial on this model of motorhome, so there is a mobile little aerial just here. So if I now just set this up, as you can now see by popping the mobile aerial just into the window just there and then tuning the television in, I've got a relatively good signal. Every time that you change location and pop your aerial wherever you want to put it, you will need to retune the television in. Because this is an Avtex travel TV, all you need to do is just press the big giant retune button just here, which is this orange one. It will then take you straight back to the retune menu. All you then need to do is just literally hit OK, and it will then begin to retune the television in. This television also has a DVD player in the side of it as well. Next, if I now move into the washroom, we have the cassette toilet just here. As you can see, the bowl swivels all around. To open to the cassette, just slide the grey lever just here, then push the flush on the blue button just here. The level indicator is just here, so this will illuminate when the cassette needs empty, and then close back up again just here. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just make sure that nobody's left it open. We then have the shower just there. Do make sure that all of the shower screens are secured for travel. And then we have the basin just here. To drain the fresh water tank down, I just need to remove the carpet just here. And you can now see the hatch just here. So if I now just remove, you can now see the top of the fresh water tank. Just remove the cap just here. And then in the tank itself, you can find the chain. Run your hand down the chain to the bung and then pull the bung out. Never try to pull on the chain itself because the bung is in very tight and you will just snap it. This front lounge area can be made into another double bed, and to do this, just slightly lift up and pull both sections out so they meet in the middle, and then just place your cushions into place. And once the cushions are dropped into place, as you can see, it makes a very large double bed. Both driver and passenger seats rotate round, as you can see, and they rotate round on the lever just here. Move the seats backwards and forwards in the normal fashion, just on the bar that just sits underneath. Both seats are also height adjustable, just on the two levers just here.